"Don't come to the wedding. You'll make it awkward." That's what my cousin typed in the family WhatsApp group. Not a phone call. Not a conversation. Just a cold text for everyone to see. I stared at my phone and typed back, "I already booked my bus ticket." Within seconds, the bride's sister flooded the chat with laughing emojis. Then just like that, she removed me from the group. Gone. Like I never existed. A few minutes later, someone forwarded me a screenshot. It was a photo of the seating chart. My name was crossed out with a thick black marker. Not erased. Crossed out. Like they wanted proof I wasn't welcome. I sat on the edge of my bed, my hands shaking, my chest tight. That's when I realized they were hiding something bigger. My name is Janelle. I'm 34 years old. I live in a small apartment outside of Richmond, Virginia, and I work as a billing coordinator at a medical office. It's not glamorous. It's not the kind of job anyone brags about at family reunions. But it pays my rent, keeps my lights on, and I earned every bit of it on my own. In my family, though, that never seemed to matter. See, I've always been the one people forget to mention. The one who doesn't get tagged in the holiday photos. The one whose name comes up last, if it comes up at all. I spent most of my 20s trying to recover from a business I started that failed badly. I lost money, lost confidence, and for a while, I lost myself. I was rebuilding, slowly, piece by piece, trying to trust my own decisions again. But in my family, there was only one person who mattered, and that was my cousin Adrienne. Adrienne was the favorite. She always had been. She had the degree, the fiancé, the Instagram aesthetic, the smile that made every aunt and uncle light up when she walked into the room. Everything revolved around her. Every holiday, every phone call, every family gathering was basically an Adrienne appreciation event. And me? I was background noise. I wasn't rich or glamorous. But I had something they didn't expect. Now, before I get deeper into this, I want to pause for just a second. If you've ever felt like the invisible one in your family, like nothing you do is enough to be seen or respected, then you already know exactly how this feels. You know what it's like to sit at a table full of relatives and still feel completely alone. If that's you, I want you to know this story is for you. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, because I share stories like this all the time. Drop a comment and tell me if you've ever been pushed aside by the people who were supposed to love you. And if you want to support stories like this one, click that hype button or hit like. It means more than you know. Alright, let me tell you what happened next. The wedding was set for a Saturday in late September at a boutique hotel about 2 hours from where I live. I'd known about it for months. Adrienne had posted the save the date on social media before half the family even got their physical invitations. I was told I'd be invited. My mom confirmed it. My aunt mentioned it casually on the phone once. But when the actual invitations went out, mine never arrived. I waited. I asked. I was told it must have gotten lost in the mail. Then, a week before the wedding, the WhatsApp message came. Not a phone call. Not a sit-down conversation. A text in the family group chat telling me not to show up. When I pushed back, my Aunt Diane called me directly. Her voice was tight and clipped. She said, "Janelle, I'm going to be honest with you. You don't fit the vibe of the wedding." I asked her what that meant. She said, "It's a certain crowd. Adrienne has a vision. You understand." I didn't understand, but I wasn't going to beg. Instead, I decided I'd go to the hotel anyway, just to drop off a gift I'd already bought. A nice one, too. Something I'd saved up for. I thought maybe if I showed my face briefly, it would remind them I was still family. I walked into the hotel lobby on Friday evening, the night before the wedding. The smell of fresh flowers and polished wood hit me the moment I stepped through the doors. There were gold and ivory decorations everywhere. It looked expensive. I approached the front desk to ask which room Adrienne was staying in so I could leave the gift. Before I could finish my sentence, a security guard stepped in front of me. He said, "Ma'am, are you on the guest list?" I told him I was family. He looked at a printed sheet, scanned it twice, and shook his head. "Your name isn't here. I can't let you pass the lobby." I stood there holding a wrapped gift box with a ribbon on top while a man in a black polo told me I wasn't welcome at my own cousin's wedding. And that's when I noticed them. 3 of my relatives were standing near the elevator. They saw me. They whispered to each other. They didn't come over. They just stared. One of them leaned toward the security guard's colleague and said something I couldn't hear. Then I looked up. Mounted on the ceiling just above the front desk was a small CCTV camera. Its little red light blinked steadily. And I noticed something else. The family members near the elevator weren't just whispering about me. They were arguing. One of them gestured sharply and said, loud enough for me to catch fragments, "She can't see anything. Make sure she doesn't get upstairs." That wasn't about a seating chart. That wasn't about a vibe. They were actively keeping me from something. The hits kept coming. That same night, I went back to my motel room and tried to check Adrienne's Instagram to see if there were any rehearsal dinner photos. Blocked. I tried my Aunt Diane's page. Blocked. I tried my Uncle Robert's Facebook. Blocked. Every single one of them had cut me off digitally while I was standing in that hotel lobby being humiliated. They had coordinated it. It wasn't impulsive. It was planned. The next morning, I drove back to the hotel. I told myself I just wanted to sit in the parking lot for a minute, collect my thoughts, maybe drive home after. But as I sat in my car with the windows down, I heard voices. 2 of my cousins were standing near the side entrance, talking to a hotel staff member. One of them, my cousin Derek, was laughing. He said, "Yeah, she works at some front desk medical office or something. Couldn't even keep a business open. I don't know why she thought she belonged here." The staff member awkwardly laughed along. My face went hot. My fingers gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Then it got worse. I watched as my Aunt Diane walked up to a different security guard near the event entrance and said, "There's a woman, my niece. She might try to come inside. Janelle, 34, brown hair. Please keep her away from the event floor. She's not invited and she's been causing problems." I hadn't caused a single problem. I had shown up with a gift and been turned away. That was it. I sat in my car and felt the kind of hurt that doesn't make you cry. It makes you go quiet. It makes everything feel numb, like the sound around you gets muffled, and the only thing you can hear is your own breathing. But I didn't cry. Not in that parking lot. Not where anyone could see me. Instead, I opened my phone and started recording. I wrote down what I heard, what I saw, and what time it happened. I took screenshots of every blocked account. I saved the forwarded image of the seating chart with my name crossed out. I didn't know what I was going to do with all of it yet. But something in me said to keep it. Every single piece. Here's the thing none of them knew about me. While I was rebuilding my life after my business failed, I started writing online. At first it was just a way to process what I was going through. I posted stories about being underestimated, about failing and getting back up, about family dynamics that make you feel small. I did it anonymously. No real name. No face. Just words. And slowly, quietly, that little anonymous channel grew. It grew a lot. Thousands of people started following. Then tens of thousands. I never told my family. Not because I was hiding it, but because I knew exactly what they'd say. They'd minimize it. They'd call it a hobby. They'd find a way to make it small, just like they made me feel small. But what they didn't know was that I wasn't as powerless as they thought. I had a platform. I had an audience. And I had the receipts. Meanwhile, the hotel's CCTV cameras had been running the entire time. Those cameras didn't just capture me being turned away. They captured everything. Every whispered conversation near the elevator. Every instruction given to security. Every pointed finger and nervous glance. I didn't have the footage yet, but I had a feeling it existed. And the thing about my family is that their image is everything. The perfect wedding. The perfect photos. The perfect family. They had spent so much energy curating how they looked to the world that they forgot one critical thing. The truth doesn't need an invitation. There was one person in the family who didn't block me. My cousin Terrell. Terrell was 2 years younger than me, and he'd always been treated like the other outsider. He didn't go to college. He worked as a mechanic. He wore jeans to formal dinners and said what was on his mind, which meant the family kept him at arm's length just like they did with me. He texted me Saturday morning while the wedding was happening. "Janelle, where are you?" I told him I was at the motel. He said, "Stay there. I'm coming." 20 minutes later, he pulled into the parking lot in his beat-up truck, grease still on his hands. We sat on the curb outside my room, and he told me everything. He said the family had a meeting the week before the wedding. Not a casual conversation. An actual meeting at Aunt Diane's house. The agenda was simple. Keep Janelle away. He said they were worried I'd embarrass Adrian. That my failure would be a talking point among the groom's wealthy family. He said they actually discussed what I might wear and whether I'd bring down the photos. I listened without interrupting. My jaw was tight. My chest ached. But I let him finish. He said they think they handled it. They're in there right now toasting champagne, bragging about how smoothly everything went. Diane actually said, "See? No drama. We made the right call." He looked at me and shook his head. "They don't know you at all, do they?" I looked at him. "No," I said. "They don't." The tension between what I knew and what they thought they'd gotten away with was building. And I could feel it. Something was about to shift. 3 days after the wedding, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open. I didn't write out of anger. I wrote out of clarity. On my anonymous channel, I posted a calm, factual thread. I didn't use anyone's real names. I didn't exaggerate. I described exactly what happened. The WhatsApp messages. Being removed from the group. The seating chart with my name crossed out. The security guard in the lobby. My aunt's words. My cousin mocking my job. Being blocked on every platform. I posted the screenshots. Every single one. And then came the part no one expected. A follower of my channel worked at the hotel. They had seen my post and recognized the details. They reached out privately and shared something with me. CCTV stills. Time-stamped. Clear as day. The images showed my Aunt Diane speaking to the security guard, pointing toward the lobby entrance. They showed my cousins huddled near the elevator, one of them gesturing aggressively. They showed the moment I was stopped at the front desk, gift in hand, while family members watched from a distance and did nothing. I posted the images with context. No commentary. Just facts and photos. The thread exploded. Within 48 hours, it had been shared thousands of times. People were furious. Not at me. At them. And then the private messages started flooding in. Adrienne's new husband's family saw it. His mother called Aunt Diane demanding an explanation. Adrienne herself sent me a message that night. "How could you do this to me? You ruined everything." I typed back one line. "You removed me from the family. I just told people about it." Derek tried to go on social media to deny it, but the CCTV stills made that impossible. You can't argue with time-stamped footage. My Aunt Diane called my mother screaming, saying I had destroyed the family's reputation. My mother, who had stayed quiet this whole time, finally said something I'll never forget. She said, "Diane, you destroyed it yourself. Janelle just turned the lights on." The family's carefully polished image cracked wide open. The comments on the thread were filled with people sharing their own stories of being excluded, humiliated, and erased by the people who were supposed to love them. My channel gained more followers in 3 days than it had in the previous 6 months. But that wasn't the part that mattered to me. In the days that followed, I didn't engage in the drama. I didn't respond to the angry texts from Adrian or the voicemails from my aunt. I didn't make follow-up posts or fan the flames. I said what I needed to say, and then I stepped back. The family was in chaos. Adrian and her husband had a very public argument at their post-wedding brunch because his family kept asking questions. Derek deleted his social media entirely. Aunt Diane stopped answering calls from extended relatives who wanted to know her side of the story. But I wasn't celebrating any of that. I sat in my apartment, drinking coffee by the window, watching the rain fall against the glass. I felt lighter. Not happy exactly. Just lighter. Like I'd set down something I'd been carrying for years. Terrell called me that Tuesday night. He was quiet for a moment, and then he said, "Janelle, thank you." I asked him what for. He said, "For finally standing up. Not just for you. For all of us who never fit in with them." I felt tears sting my eyes for the first time since the whole thing started. But they weren't sad tears. They were the kind that come when someone finally sees you. I spent a long time trying to earn a seat at that family's table. I dressed the way they wanted. I smiled when it hurt. I swallowed insults and told myself it was just how family worked. But it wasn't family. It was control. And the moment I stopped begging to belong, I found something better. I found my own voice. Walking away from people who never valued me wasn't a loss. It was the win I didn't know I needed. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been uninvited from a family event? Have you been pushed out, embarrassed, or made to feel like you didn't belong at a gathering that was supposed to be about love and togetherness? If that's your story, I want you to share it in the comments. You're not alone in this, and your experience matters. If this story hit close to home, please subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And click that hype button to help this story reach other people who need to hear it. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you for being here. Honestly, this community means so much to me because it's built on something real. It's built on people who understand what it feels like to be pushed aside, and who choose to lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'd love to know. Hit that hype button one more time to help this reach someone who needs it today. And remember, you don't need anyone's permission to take up space in this world. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one.